Winning women. Winning women. Your Excellency, when you were talking about your busy schedule, I was trying to imagine between mine and yours, which is busier. I have just come back from a 12-city tour in Europe. And I came in, hosted a big town hall in Lagos. And yesterday flew to, we held unusual praise, which is all night. I hadn't slept till yesterday. I headed straight to Lagos to chair a wedding. That's in Abuja. This morning, I had to be at 6 a.m. mass. Took a breakfast meeting, went to St. Matthew's Anglican Church for another reception, headed to the airport, flew in right from the airport here, and I have 2 meetings up to midnight, and that's been our story. But coming here today, I'm indeed elated and also honored to be listening to you and eminent people who are here. Thank you, Lady Akugo of Wazobia, for having me here today. And let me also acknowledge all the eminent people who are gathered. I see it's only the women have been speaking. Maybe I'm the only man here talking, so that makes me special, you know. And let me also acknowledge the members of the road safety that are here. For our road safety call, I appreciate you all. And my colleagues who have joined me to this meeting, and then the pastors in the room, particularly the host pastor today. May God bless you all in Jesus' name. What I just want to do is share a few success tips. And that may appeal to women and men alike. I like the subject, the main, theme of today's event, building to last. And you can approach it from many dimensions. It's really about sustainability. It's about longevity. It's actually about everything. Because the most important of the last is actually our last. It's about eternity. It's about that which is most important. But even before we die and go to heaven, how do we succeed on earth? How do we start off something, succeed in that, and remain successful for a long period of time? Whether it's in your marriages, whether in your businesses, whether in every other engagement of life. And so I want to approach this from a number of perspectives. We have very little time today, but I'd like to speak less and get a few questions so I can, because when I see people sit like this, I don't know where they're all coming from, and your needs may vary, may differ. And so to speak something that will appeal to every single one of you, maybe some of you are students, maybe some of you are in businesses, maybe some of you, but whatever I say will be a lot generic. But when we have opportunity to interact, I can then deal with issues much, much more deeper and closer. To succeed in life, it means naturally you've got to look at yourself. It starts with yourself. How you view yourself, how you understand yourself, how you've mastered yourself, how you're able to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, how you've also groomed yourself, how you prepared yourself. How you prepare yourself and how you also show courtesy and respect for a fellow human being, and understanding your environment at every point in time, living a measured life, a balanced life. It's not that easy. Some may come by nature, some by nurture. It's things that you must learn that will drive you to even get better and better. And so, the real definition of somebody who has prepared himself or herself very well is somebody that has not just gone through the walls of different academic institutions, but also learned what I call the skill of emotional intelligence. That, for me, is a singular, most important key success factor. The most important. In it, you also learn to be godly. In it, you learn to master yourself. You also learn to show love and care for a fellow human being. Gift and skill of emotional intelligence. Whether in your marriage, it's important. Whether in any environment you find yourself, whether you are an employee or employer, it's important. It is something that I want you to deepen your understanding of, so that be proud to say you are emotionally intelligent when you truly are. Don't lie to yourself. And that brings me to what actually is emotional intelligence. What does that really, really mean? Just break it into three. It's about yourself first, the other person, and your environment. These three things. If you have a good understanding of it and mastery of it, you can go far in life. When you are working for somebody, they will see the difference in you easily. They will pick and say, there's something unique about this person. When you talk to somebody on the telephone, just somebody listening to you on the other side of the telephone, they will say, there's something unique about this person. And if you don't start from this, forget about this building to last. This is the bedrock of it. And what I try to preach this more, because in it, you find that you live a godly life. Godliness will come natural. It's not just about how many pages of the Bible you read, which is important, but making it habitual. Let it just come, you know how we say follow come? Let it be default positioning. Who you are will set you apart. And the very first part of being emotionally intelligent is what I call personal authenticity. Just being honest to yourself. Are you the kind of person that would lie to yourself? Are you the kind of person that will be truthful to yourself? I urge you to not lie to yourself. Because once you start lying to yourself, everything is rubbish. That means you will lie to other people. Yourself must love yourself enough to lie, not to lie to yourself. And not lying to yourself will bring you to that sense of vulnerability. That you're not God. You acknowledge that you are a mere human being. Whatever your strengths may be, you're still a human being. What that does is to humble you. Give you that sense of, you know what? There's a super being. And no matter the class and your level in life, whether you're president, whether you're wife of deputy governor, whether you're anybody in life, humble yourself. Because we're all creation of God. This is so important. Otherwise, when you have pride in you, you are not different from Satan. That's the only difference between Lucifer and the other angels. There's none. Just pride. Take away pride out of you. You're only there because God wished and made you to be there. Grace of God. And so, humble yourself. And when you do this and bring that humility, people will see that resonate and show in everything you do. Don't show pretenses. Not when you are with the big and mighty. People say, oh, you're his humble. No. It's actually what you do when nobody else is watching. That's who you are. Now, that brings me to the second part of being emotionally intelligent. It's about your respect and your courtesy for a fellow human being. You can't love God if you don't like your fellow human being. You can't claim to love God. It is in dealing with other people that can actually show that you are godly. And so give respect and courtesy to fellow human beings. Let this be your mantra. Leaving whoever you meet in life with a positive impression at all times. Anytime you engage with anybody, on this, as you're walking out of here, as you're interacting here, as you're in school, as you're in the business environment, make sure that let the other person say, wow, what a human being. I like to meet this person I haven't even seen in my life before. Just listening to him or her on the telephone. If you don't bring all this into your marriage, into your businesses, the sky will be your limit. Showing courtesy to a fellow human being is also an order, is a commandment of God. Because you know what I said to people? If for whatever reason you feel you can't love the person or show courtesy, respect the God in that person. After all, we're all created in the image and likeness of God. It is important. And when you do that, you're not doing anybody a favor. You are accumulating goodwill for yourself. In relationships, in businesses, it's about your interaction with one another. So you're doing this for your own sake. And when you do this well, you're actually living a heavenly life. You're becoming a candidate for heaven without even knowing it, without struggle, because it's now part of you. And the last part of being emotionally intelligent is your respect for your environment. Master your environment. Know when to speak and when to keep quiet. When to listen to other people. Don't overdo things. Don't bring in all this into measure. And that takes me to another important terminology I like to use a lot, which is, number one, pursuit of excellence. Number two is following and living a life of continuous improvement. The culture of continuous improvement. How do you challenge status quo? How do you keep improving? You can't remain static in something, keep celebrating the status quo. No, challenge the status quo. Keep asking, can't this be done better? There are always ways to improve on things. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, we celebrate status quo. We don't improve that much. And it's natural with us. So we've got to wake up the shackle, remove that shackle, and see how we continually improve. And it's in the little things that you do. If you're a young person here, let me ask you a simple question. How did you spend your yesterday? Just yesterday. The 24 hours, break it down. How did you spend it? How many hours sleeping? How many hours gossiping? How many hours on the social media? How many hours studying? How many hours doing something useful and impactful? If you check all this, it will surprise you how shamefully you've wasted a lot of your hours. Maybe in the whole 24 hours, only 3 hours are truly useful. If you keep tracking this on a regular basis, every day you mark how you have spent your day. And you just add 30 minutes or 1 hour from the useless one to the useful one. On a consistent basis, you'll see magic happen in your life. And that's the power of continuous improvement. Tracking your improvements. So when you go to anything whatsoever, whether it's in the church, in the family business, or even your Omona meeting, when you get to those meetings, how have you spent? I used to tell our fellow men, when you go to a meeting that lasts for 3 hours, maybe we first 1 hour by giving title name, Onwa Kanga, another 30 minutes, Ewaji, before we even go to Ikono. At the end of the day, only 30 minutes may be useful in that whole 3 hours. I said, no, do something about this. How do we, and it's not, it goes even back into what we do in the villages. Which improvement have you noticed in your village? Virtually none. Everything that your grandmother, great-grandmother has been doing, that same way we're still doing it. But our counterparts, the Igbo people, you see how they are living by the culture of continuous improvement. If they build something today, then the laboratory, looking for a better way, a newer version. That should be our mantra. Let's challenge status quo. If you bring this even in leadership, because that's the way I want to end our conversation today. You can't even be thinking of building to last, particularly in businesses, when the business environment is very, very wicked, harsh, and corrosive. And it is government, it's leadership that bring the issue of competitiveness into the environment. Let me tell you this. The Bible says it clearly. Proverbs 29:2. When good people are in power, the people rejoice. When wicked people are in power, they suffer. After God's power, the next is political leadership. We must pay attention to what is happening there. And we are getting it wrong in Nigeria, almost in all cadre, from presidency to governorship to the chairmanship to the town unions, because we don't emphasize the most important thing. Look for people who are emotionally intelligent. Seek you first, godly people in power, and every other thing shall be added onto it. I'm saying this so that you stop being too transactional, too selfish, too self-centered, too tribal, and the way we do things. That's what we've been doing, and we keep failing in that regard. If you go back and read the story of the Israelites, you see that anytime they were idolatry became their watchword, they suffered. But the moment God decided to bring in his own, when we talk about will of God, yes, some people may be governor, president, may not really be what we call the perfect will of God. The real will of God, the real perfect will of God is when a godly person is in power. You will know it is God that has brought this guy or this woman in power. How do we attract that grace to have godly people in power? It's also how we predispose ourselves. So as citizens, who are we? Stop blaming people for what is wrong in this country. Blame yourselves because we haven't done enough. The moment you decide to be selfless, you're able to make sacrifices. You're able to say enough is enough. We collectively, our situation will change. But when we keep scared of whatever you don't even know, you're already dying anyway, get ready to be able to say enough and be the right person yourself. The Greeks categorize human beings into three categories. It's those they consider that are selfish, and self-centered, and greedy. Second, those who consider tribal. And unfortunately, recent majority, 80-something% of Africans are in those first two categories, who are greedy, selfish, and who are tribal. And that's the major reason we are where we are. Because it's one of us that will not go into political leadership with that same behavior. Guess what will happen? It will be rotten. But when we are the right people, then some of us that will emerge as into leadership will also be the right people. And we can achieve this just by looking at ourselves and making those corrections I've spoken about. Let us understand the importance of being emotionally intelligent. Now, getting into those businesses, because a lot has been spoken about family. I will skip so much on family, but let me just touch on business. Building to last in business is another terminology we use again for sustainability, longevity. How do you actually build to last? It doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen by accident. It can only happen by design. If you understand what that truly is. I have managed 2 PLCs. I know what governance framework is all about. If you don't know it, if you don't do it, if you don't run your business like it's somebody's business, what do I mean? You are accountable to people, accountable to others. Do same even for your own one-man business. Be accountable at all times. What does that mean? Checking to see what you're doing. If money is coming into your business, how much is actually your cost? How much is the profit? How much are you setting aside? Just taking those deliberate actions. That's the elementary part of governance framework. Before you move into the processes, if somebody is employed today, is there a particular way of doing things in your company? Do they know that you have to start work by this, and this is how you respond to customers, this is how you check your controls, this is how you check when there are lapses? So that when somebody comes, give him orientation, I can say, I am imbibing the DNA of this business. If you understand this carefully, and you codify it, that becomes your DNA, your own way of doing business. So that when you are on holiday, your business does not go on holiday. When you are sick, your business does not go sick. Anybody you bring to that business will be imbibed into that orientation. And as you then develop further, you get to where you understand that even in business, you will see it as if you're managing other people's money. You've got to show accountability every quarter. This is how much profit or loss I've made. Every year, you do the same thing. And that's how you also render accounts to even the government, so you can pay your due taxes. And if you keep doing this, you are setting your business to last. You are doing this because of long-term nature you have given to your business. So it's always crucial that you just don't run it dry and eventually, like cars speeding off with a drunken driver, and at the end of the day, he's an accident and goes. Or at the end of the day, if they look for you, a lot of businesses in Nigeria, when the owners die, those businesses die because they are not built to last, because there's no governance framework that embodies it. So these are the few words I want to leave you with and open up a conversation. I'd like to take as many questions as time would permit. They're already making signs that I should end here. So let me stop here. When we have enough time, I'm more than happy to give you more. God bless you.
So very much for your time, sir. And so before your award comes up, because Akugo is going to be here to do that herself, I am also going to give us a brief rundown of the profile of Sir Valentine Ozigbo. And now the thing is, I must warn you, because this profile is going to be very abridged. By abridged, I mean this is going to be just a short version, because, the man he is and what he has done and what he has to his credit, I cannot possibly give a rundown because of time. And so, Valentine Ozigbo is a distinguished business leader, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and politician with nearly 30 years of experience in corporate transformation spanning key sectors such as power, hospitality, energy, banking, sports, and philanthropy. He was the People's Democratic Party (PDP) candidate in the 2021 Anambra State governorship election and is now the Labour Party's governorship hopeful for the 2025 election in Anambra State. During the 2023 general elections, Valentine served as special advisor to Mr. Peter Obi on technology and strategic alliances, also assisting with campaign fundraising. Valentine's emergence as the PDP's 2021 gubernatorial candidate was highly regarded as one of the most inspiring political stories in Nigeria. He ultimately came second in that election, significantly outperforming previous PDP results. Now, if you know Anambra State, you should know that is a really big feat. He has held senior leadership roles, notably as the former president and group CEO of Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, PLC, the one short known as Transcorp, where he oversaw substantial growth and transformation across its subsidiaries, including Transcorp Power PLC and Transcorp Hotels. During his tenure, he led a $100 million transformation of Transcorp Hilton Abuja, earning international recognition for excellence in hospitality management. He began his career in banking, holding top roles at various Nigerian banks, rising to a level of general manager and divisional director before being headhunted by Transcorp. Academically, Valentine has a strong record of excellence, holding a BSc in accounting and an MBA from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he was the best faculty student, and an MSc in finance from Lancaster University, UK, where he graduated from with distinction. He was also awarded a Chevening Scholarship and later recognized as a Distinguished Alumni of the Year by Lancaster University. Valentine is a fellow of several professional institutes, including the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. His philanthropic foundation, the Valentine Chineto Ozigbo VCO Foundation, has empowered over 300,000 people through grants and capacity building initiatives, particularly in youth and women empowerment. He is a leading promoter of sports and community development, particularly in freestyle football, where he is the biggest promoter in Africa and the only non-executive director with the World Freestyle Football Association. He also has severally chaired Unusual Praise, the largest Catholic gospel event in Africa, and Unusual Entrepreneur, a faith-based empowerment platform. Valentine is married to Ojugo, and they have 4 children. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the moment, Valentine Ozibo.
All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and here today the Winning Women has an award to present to Mr. Valentine. Very quickly to present an award is not a person but our eminent ambassador, Dr. Kevin Chooks, the Executive Director and MD Crystal Garden Estate. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure this afternoon to present this award to this distinguished excellency. You know, every time I listen to him, I'm always wowed. All the time I've been listening to him and I've attended a lot of his programs, I have never seen him with a paper in his presentation, and yet he would be speaking and making serious sense. Are you with me? You know, you will have to be taking note each time he opens his mouth. And this level of intelligence is very, very rare. So we really appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Winning Women. I appreciate this. I am dedicating this to that philosophical, historical, developmental mantra, Ka Anambra Chawapo. And this will mean a lot when it happens. It's taken from Matthew 5:16. Anambra is the light of the nation, and it's time for that light to shine. Let your light so shine so that people will see your good deeds and acknowledge your Father who is in heaven. It's going to happen particularly to our women and to our youths. God bless you all.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.